My hat.
So that's your hat rack?
Yeah, well, I have hats on top, and it's all my coats and stuff.
Oh, okay. Hey, by the way, welcome to the show, everybody. Hey, it's exclamation points. I love
When
starting
did you
the show.
start recording?
Bitch.
Oh,
I sit here talking about random crap, and Jimmy's like, "Oh, we started recording 10 minutes ago."
Why not? I mean, we might as well. We got a view of your well, soon to be old place. We got to see the hat rack. So hey, everybody. So it's Red, it's Becca, it's Matt. So we're here. It's really cool. We're going to talk about concerts, but before we talk about concerts, I got to rant for a second and say, even though I am a 36-year-old man, I don't care. I don't care how old I don't care if I'm 99. I hear the damn ice cream truck run by. I am going to break an ankle getting my goddamn wallet if I have to. Okay, but he didn't go by my house. That's the worst part. You hear it off in the distance this afternoon. All of a sudden, I'm just like, oh my god, I want an ice cream. This Choco Taco Time. No,
I don't want to rain on your parade here, Jimmy, but
I can go to the store and get that stuff.
yeah, you could just go to like 7-Eleven and buy like Choco Tacos.
No, it's not the
it's
same.
not the same.
No, it's not the same.
I know, but like I'm saying, if the guy doesn't go by your house and you're like sad, you could go buy a chocolate. It's not the same, but you can get a
What
chocolate.
would be kind of the same is you DoorDash something from like a 7-Eleven and then put in the requests like leave at my door and from your phone, please play this YouTube video really loudly so it sounds like.
I will give you like 25%, 30% for my chocolate taco.
Exactly. I mean, so
I'm sure they've gotten weirder requests than that.
oh, I mean, guarantee you. And some of the things are not safe for work, probably. But the thing is about
wait, what?
What are you doing to your poor DoorDash?
Yeah,
not what I'm doing. It's what America's doing to them. Okay, come on.
Okay.
But
get off your soapbox.
But the thing is, like, it's just a letdown when you hear them, and you hear them literally on like this. Like, so where I live, I it's kind of like a Popeye's chicken, like rip and tear, breast or whatever. Where
you
it's
live
like,
in Popeyes?
Yeah, it's like you get the backbone and you got strips coming off of it.
How did this not come up during the fast food episode that you live in a Popeyes?
Oh no, I don't live in a Popeyes. I'm just saying,
you just said where I live is a Popeyes.
No, I said it's like a Popeyes rip. Like, what do they call it?
Okay, so you live in a knockoff Popeye shop, is what you're saying.
No, I'm talking.
No. What he's trying to say, he's lives with a line that has lines that come off of it, and his brain said that's a Popeye's chicken strip tear away thing.
Yeah,
not like a comb.
That was not clear to me at all. I heard I live in a fast food fried chicken joint because
exactly,
I'm the same person.
We take orders.
I haven't seen it.
Well, it would smell delicious at all times. I mean, it really.
The thing is, I've been in Jimmy's house. I know it's not a fried chicken restaurant.
No, it's not.
The
It
truth
smells
comes
way
out.
nicer. It smells way nicer than that.
Yeah, I would much rather go to Jimmy's house than a knockoff Popeye's fried chicken hut.
That's true. I mean,
which I enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, well, the only thing is like, so our house does obviously smell like a regular house. It doesn't smell like a deep fryer or anything like that. But
the rumors are not true.
Exactly,
there is not a Popeyes here.
Exactly. But the one thing that sucks is that when you have an infant in diapers, no matter how much I let the trash can air out, it fucking stinks at all times now. It's just
poop.
Yeah,
you can't make poop better.
I don't know if the poop is like smeared on the inside of the container.
No, it just lingers like the cranberries. You can't get rid of it.
There's like bleach or whatever, man. Just like rub the inside and it'd probably fix it.
Rub the inside.
And it just smells like flowers and shit rubbed together, and it's even worse to some degree. Like,
oh well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just. Anyways, but my house.
Anyways, your story was about the fact that the ice cream man goes to the chicken strips instead of you.
So yesterday he came down our street and then he hit like the other couple of strips.
Yeah.
Today, no.
How many kids are on your street?
Yeah.
I saw. I mean, not to sound like a pedo, but I saw at least a half a dozen yesterday. Like outside the house.
How is you noticing children a pedophile? Like normally sex people just walking the kids going, what did I hit? I can't even see it. Like, that's not ridiculous, man.
I will say, not to change the subject back to the point, but the ice cream man, I haven't seen an actual ice cream truck in many years. And there is a weird kind of like liminal space of being able to hear it in the distance and like it getting quieter and stuff like that. It's a little bit creepy almost. Yeah. But I would also partake in ice cream from the ice cream truck if one existed in space around me.
When I was a kid, there used to be one that would drive down my street occasionally. But now as an adult, even being in like a suburban area and stuff, I don't really know many people who say it drives like down through like a residential area. The only times I see them, they'll show up at like the beach I'm at.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Or like possibly
yeah.
something if we're like sitting in a park, like hang out with friends or something, I might see one. But like residential areas, do they really do that anymore? I don't really see
They do. But
last year, I've been here for about a year, just over almost 2 years now. Last year they weren't here. The year before that they weren't here, and all of a sudden 2 days ago they showed up, and I'm like, yeah.
I mean, the summer's coming.
Yeah,
summer's their season.
Well, I'm saying, like, even during the summers, the last two, I was like, there was nothing, and all of a sudden,
what could have happened last summer that would have affected it?
Shut up. 2 years ago, there was no pandemic.
But the thing is, I bet you any money, it's got to be based on like sales. So they probably get like 4 of the 5 strips or whatever the hell you're calling your streets. Those ones probably get good sales, and the 5th one they go like, I only sell like 2 strawberry shortcakes, and nobody likes those anyway. So I'm gonna go to the other 4 because I sell more stuff.
Well, yeah, but it's all brand new. Like what I'm saying is that like this is new to the area. So I'm like, why would you have gone down all the strips yesterday, but not today?
He must just hate you specifically.
Yeah, you got to do better about advertising the value of your street. If you're seeing all those kids, report it to the ice cream man. Let them know that there's opportunities.
Put a big giant sign saying, "For the love of God, come down the street, ice cream man."
I will eat so much ice cream.
I will eat so much ice cream.
And I buy one.
You're like, choco, done. It's like, I'm never coming back here.
Exactly. But I mean, I don't know. I was just very disappointed today when I heard it, the windows open and I'm hearing it and I'm sprinting downstairs and no. So I didn't get my chocolate. So anyways, and also I feel as though for whatever reason, I feel as though like a chocolate, like even if I went and bought a 6-pack of chocolate tacos at the store and I'm saving myself money and I'm not having to interact with some creepo, it doesn't matter to me. I feel as though the chocolate tacos are going to taste better from that fucking truck. I feel as though the experience is going to make it sweeter or something. I don't know. Like
that was my big thing for a long time. Is I would drink Coke out of the glass bottle. And I'm like, man, this tastes so much better than out of a can. Oh, that's funny. And then I realized it actually does taste better out of the glass bottle because it's generally Mexican Coke.
Yeah.
Which uses a different blend of spices and uses cane sugar, not high fructose corn syrup. But I'm like, oh shit, I wasn't crazy. It actually
but then the best soda is definitely from McDonald's, though. So
I don't know. The glass bottle Mexican Coke is pretty comparable. They're both. Have you had like the Mexican Coke before?
No, not that I know.
It's really different.
Yeah.
It's a little
Mexican
spicier.
Coke is the best, but McDonald's Sprite is.
By the way, whenever you guys are saying Mexican Coke, all I could think of is.
No, we're not talking like cocaine, man.
I was about to say. Okay.
There's just universal Coke.
Yeah,
You're talking about that Coke. You don't have to get regional with it.
But it
just is what it is.
Okay. Well, anyway, so going from drugs to concerts, let's talk about our first concerts. So. I was about to say, we've all been to concerts at this point in our lives, okay? And I mean, obviously, varying degrees of from a couple to a lot between the three of us. So, and obviously, if you have any crazy drug stories, let me know.
I hopefully not for your first concert.
No,
I mean, depending on
definitely not for mine. Because actually, I should say this. So I was 14 when I went to my first concert, and if I had run in with drugs, first of all, my friend's dad would have kicked that person's ass, and then second of all, my parents would have kicked my ass somehow. So I mean, I do know that so. All right, so my first fuck it, I'll just go into it. So my first concert was when I was 14, and it was after I just got into like hard rock, heavy metal. And so it was the 1999 Rock is Dead tour, which was going on in the fall and winter of 99. And it was Korn, Rob Zombie with opener Videodrome. So
Jesus, that was your first concert?
That was my first concert.
Wow.
And it was at the Providence Civic Center, which is now the Dunkin' Donuts Center. So it was also a big deal because of the fact that like it wasn't like a little venue, it was a huge arena. So so there was a lot going on, obviously. Like it was my buddy William's not his first concert. He'd already been going to concerts for a couple of years now, but it was my first one. And so there's a lot going on with this one. First of all, because I was 14 and the internet wasn't really a thing yet, we had to do the phone. Like we had to fucking call in when tickets went on sale. We had to be on the phone. So that was the first experience for me. And then of course going to the concert, smelling weed for the first time, and seeing boobs for the first time in real life.
Wow.
So there was a lot going on.
I mean, not the first time.
Well, not the first time for boobs in general, but the first time
in that context,
seeing them live in person, though. It was
live in color.
So yeah. So and it wasn't just like, oh, but somebody flashing the band down the no. They had the huge screens. So when Korn came on, they had the Korn cages, which was a 2-story tall. All these winners from a local radio station down in Rhode Island, they got to fill the things. And then behind them, they had the huge like 3-story tall screens. So that also pyrotechnics were a first for me as well. Like I'd never seen pyrotechnics in that kind of
setting. You really jumped right in with your first concert.
I absolutely did. So okay, so let me start from the beginning. So basically we get into the arena, we get into our seats, and we're not on the floor, obviously, because we're only 14. So that would be okay. If we went and that was my first mosh pit, that would have been just absolute, like, I probably would have been in heaven, but again, my parents probably would have freaked out. So we got up to our seats, and then as we had gone in, video drone, which actually, come to find out, ended up being was it like 4 or 5 members big. And I'll never forget coming around the corner and seeing them performing, because I got a side view from them. And so come to find out, they actually ended up becoming a DEMA later on. Like there was 5 members in the band, and like I think 2 of them left, and then 3 of them stayed, and one of them is Jonathan Davis's like stepbrother or something like that. And then like they formed a DEMA like a couple years ago, and then hit it pretty big. So anyway, so that was like also my first experience of being like, oh, I saw this band that ended up being this really like kind of bigger band. So and then so I was there for Korn, and my buddy Will was there for Rob Zombie. And then obviously since then, we've also become really big fans of the opposite band as well. And then
for my opinion, that Zombie is far superior to Korn.
So yes, and well, I will say this. I love both of their music because but for different, I don't know, they're so different from each other that like I appreciate them both for what they do.
There's like 2 songs of Korn that I'm like, oh, these are pretty good, and there's like at least a dozen I can off the top of my head that for Zombie that I'm like, oh, these are really good songs.
Oh yeah, but with Zombie though, now when it comes to performances though, I love Korn live, and I've seen them at least 10 times in my life now. Okay, but Zombie takes the cake though.
That's what I hear. Yeah,
I mean, he gets on there, and there's no joke. He's got a stage that has 3 different levels to it. Okay, he comes out. There's a huge like demon head that the mouth opens up, and all of a sudden he comes out like on a bike or like a motorcycle or something. There's fireballs. There's go-go dancers. There's people in costumes. There's robots literally running across the friggin' like. There's all this crazy shit going on. There's a huge screen behind them, and then there's screens built into the different parts of the like the pyramid or whatever the hell it's called. It was like my head wanted to explode. Like it was absolutely amazing, and the fireballs were so massive that I was even feeling the heat, even though I was like super far away. So, and then Korn came on, and they did the Korn cages, and then the big screen, and that was it. Like I was kind of like, okay, they're blowing me away performance wise.
Yeah,
this guy did it really, really, really good.
For the festival that Zombie's at, Zombie should probably go last.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely no. That's why he headlines. But the other thing is that he doesn't do the pyrotechnics as big as he used to, though, because of the cost, which is understandable. I mean, absolutely. I mean, barrels upon barrels of gasoline and oil are used to create these shows, and which is why I'm also kind of surprised that like Kiss, for instance, still does it. Like that blows me away, because the fact that even though you're selling out arenas, you're spending a ton of money on these costs. And like another one is Rammstein, for instance. Like they put on a massive show to the point where like there's actually video before the pandemic really hit. There was video of them actually, their crew, there was a time-lapse video of them setting up and then breaking down the staging that they were going to do for their tour that was going to happen last year. We actually have tickets to. So the thing was, is that going back to the boobs, because it's always about boobs. So during the Korn cages, though, there was a cameraman running across the stage, and all of a sudden this woman was just like, woo! And then what did he do but sit there? And then there's big, like 50-foot titties on the screen. So I was just like, okay, cool. I'm in heaven. Like everything was just, amazing. So yeah, but you're right though. For a first time concert though,
that's a lot.
Like it was a lot to take in, and I couldn't stop talking about it for like a month. Like it was absolutely amazing. So, but and then the cool part is that they've also, the 2 of them have toured again together, 2009 and then 2000, I think it was 15. So I've gone to all three of them, and it's, I mean, if they ever do it again in the future, I absolutely will be there again. But yeah, so that was my first concert, and so, and again, I was saying that, you know, there's maybe an extreme person here on the show that goes, so yeah, I go to a shit ton of concerts. What was it, like when Beck and I started working together in 2017, like 2018, I had to make a list of how many concerts and bands I saw.
Yeah, and it was crazy.
Yeah, it was, I gave it to you at the end of the year and you were like, what? How did you?
And you were like, I mean, this is just because we're trying to like get stuff out of our system before we have a kid or whatever. But like, I very much get the feeling that that's
and then
just like how you would happily be all the time.
In 2019, my wife gets pregnant, and then Beck and I were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna calm it down. No, I didn't calm it down that year. I actually bought tickets to go see Slipknot in Iowa, and then actually ended up having to sell them because the plane tickets were costing too much. Like, I was actually about to go fly out like 2 months before my kid was born. So
to scenic Iowa.
Yep. I'm not gonna lie. That actually apparently was a fantastic show, which I kind of regret not going to. But at the same time, I'm okay with it at the same time. But yeah, my wife actually, she was about 5 or 6 months pregnant when she went to a concert, and it was Slipknot. and I'm only laughing because she got like her body got overwhelmed because of like the craziness that's going on. Because even though we weren't in like the front section or anything, we're actually the second to last before the lawn at Xfinity Center, and there was pyrotechnics going off, and you know, we both loved the band, so we're singing along. And then by the end of it, she was not feeling good because of the hormonal and
like the vibrations. Like, I feel like that's just like a physical sensation.
It was funny because we mentioned it to each other, and we didn't think it was because she was so used to it, because we weren't close enough that like if we were in the first section, we definitely would have thought that it would be the issue. But yeah, and then I ended up going to a couple more concerts after that, and then and then I didn't get to go to any concerts last year and this year, so I'm having withdrawals.
There really weren't any concerts.
Yeah,
I know. I'm just, it's and then of course everybody's announcing shows for the fall. And
yeah, everyone's real excited to get going now.
Yeah, and our kids do it in the fall, so I'm like, that's not gonna happen. Like, Korn and Stain just announced a tour together, and I'm like, oh, Stain's coming back! Oh my god! Like, holy shit! And then we still have tickets to Rammstein whenever the hell that gets, you know, rescheduled. Gojira and one of our other favorite bands. They did. Gojira and Alien Weaponry just announced a tour together. And we're like, oh, I'm wrong. And then no, the timing of it's gonna.
Well, you and I were supposed to go see Power Glove last year, which is unfortunate too. We don't know when that's being rescheduled, if it ever, right?
Do you still have your tickets for it? Like, whenever it does come back?
I purchased the tickets on June 28th, 2019, and I still have them.
Yeah, it was supposed to be last year.
Yeah,
that was very optimistic timing.
Yeah,
that was in the middle of things.
Well, the show was scheduled for April 2nd, 2020. Yeah. So that's they got pushed, and then they officially delayed it, and then they officially canceled it. I mean, and then we did the polite thing. We donated the money, so we gave it to the Palladium. We were like, yo, keep our money. So
we'll figure it out.
I have tickets to nothing. To nothing.
Nice. Get that framed.
Yeah, no, actually, I might. So, but yeah, no, that one, I'm not gonna lie, that really sucked. I've seen Power Glove perform before. I've seen them perform before. Oh my god. Anyways, I'm laughing that one. But anyway, so I've seen them live once, and they were absolutely fantastic. And they were playing with Psycho Stick, which is another great band I love. I've seen them every time they come to town. So. But yeah, I mean, I could literally just sit here and talk about all the concerts I've been to, because the other thing is, I've actually been to so many concerts that I actually forget possibly more than I remember, to the point where like I could be talking to somebody like brand new, like I bump into somebody and I end up getting to talking to them about something or whatever, and then like they'll mention like, oh yeah, I saw this man with this band at this venue, and I could be like, oh shit, actually I was there, come to find out. So yeah, it's happened a lot to me. I actually tried doing the math, and since I've been going to concerts for 22 years, even though minus a year and a half technically, I think I've possibly been to about was it 15 to 20ish a year, which comes out to be about 400. So
Wow.
Yeah, but it's all but the other thing is this though, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like, oh my god, 400 fucking concerts, that's a shit ton. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it is, but I know that there's a lot of people that are like, a concert, I'm going to go full out. I'm going to buy like really close tickets and I'm going to spend a ton of money on them. And I'm going to buy like tons of beers at the venue and I'm going to get a ton of merch. And I'm going to make, because I only go to concerts like once or twice a year. And I get that. And when I was in my early 20s, when I was like, I want to get as close to all these bands as I can. I was blowing tons of money on tickets and I was buying all the merch. And I've never really been a big drinker at the concerts because of their prices though, which is good. But I have since then realized, like about my mid-20s, I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy tickets and buy some merch, and I'm just gonna try to do my best on like, not splurging all the time. So like I'm okay with like, further back seats that are way cheaper. Because honestly, sometimes those actually end up being the best ones. Like when we saw Florence and the Machine at Mohegan Sun, we were in literally the last row. And so I should say, so it's one of my guilty pleasures because like I'm a man who listens to Metallica. So
don't even.
Exactly. I shouldn't be liking. I've actually literally been told this before. I'm like, you shouldn't like that kind of music possibly because you love metal. And I'm like, I like.
But Florence and the Machine is like, it's not like an embarrassing.
I don't consider it is. No.
Wait till we get to what I've done.
That's true. That's true. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Way worse.
Yeah.
I can't.
Honestly, to those people who say, men shouldn't like this, or people who like this shouldn't like this, those people can go fuck themselves. People can like whatever they like.
Exactly. Thank you.
Don't breed that toxic masculinity crap. That's
exactly yeah. Like, well, the one comment I've gotten a lot is that because I love heavy metal though, and I'm okay with this comment, is that I'm the happiest metalhead people have ever met, and I think that honestly, I take that as a compliment because I have met a lot of people that are into the metal that do unfortunately have that stereotype of like, I'm an angry person and I'm gonna hate the fucking the world. I was
really into like Seven Dust
and Seven Dust. Seven Dust is amazing.
Back in the 90s, like Seven Dust and Zombies, Full Devil Jacket. You ever heard Full Devil Jacket back in the 90s?
Heard of them. Yep.
Right? Yeah, I mean they're not like Slayer, but they're definitely metal. I was really into those in the 90s when I was in high school, and people never thought so because I was like the fucking band nerd, but I was really into that kind of crap too. So
yeah, exactly.
Then I listened to other crazy shit, which we'll get into in a little bit. So like my tastes are all over the goddamn place.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but Florence and the Machine though, really quickly, it ended up being our 1 year anniversary of our wedding, and so I bought tickets. Like I said, it was like the last section, but it didn't really matter because the venue was smaller, but you got to see like her entire stage setup and stuff, and then you got to see, and then she actually came out on like, came out into the crowd and stuff, and like, but I gotta say that was an amazing show on a different like spiritual level or something. I don't know how the hell she's able to do that like 30 times in a tour or something, but like the amount of energy and love she shows like the crowd and that music is absolutely amazing. Like it was mind blowing. So anyways, so
needless to say, you have seen a lot of shows.
I've seen a lot of shows, and a lot of people are like, oh, what's your shittiest show? And I'm like, ones that like the electricity has fallen out, like gone out. I mean, like a couple times during shows I've been to, but like other than that, like maybe technical issues and people have smashed guitars and been angry, and I've only had one walk off. But other than that, I mean, concerts are still awesome. So. But it's also, for me, it's also not just watching the band, but also like really getting like connected to the people in the crowd too, which is why I hate this fucking pandemic. It's because of the fact that like I'm not connecting, even though they're strangers to me. Like I go to a Psycho Stick show and we're like locking arms and like singing and dancing along to the band, and we're like playing, they always do a song where it's Steal the Sombrero, where we all gang up on somebody and we break a sombrero like children, and we just try to grab a piece and we keep it and stuff. So like I miss that shit. So anyway, but Schofield, I gotta know, what was your concert? What was your first concert?
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
Which one is the first that you remember?
You
don't. You just don't remember.
Only a couple of years ago. I know I've been in concerts before that. here's the issue. We'll get into a few concerts I've been to. I remember 3 concerts that I've been to in the last few years. The issue with it is, in high school, there was music I was into, right? I listened to stuff, but people got really into music for the music, right? They really enjoyed it for, like what you're saying, Jimmy, the community of it, or they had like a spiritual movement or a spiritual feeling about the music. Music has never been important to me. Music is something I use to increase something else that I'm doing. So if I'm driving or I'm reading or I'm cooking or I'm hanging out with friends or doing something, music is nice to enhance the other thing I'm doing. Music has never been important to me by itself. Like the idea that people like sit and have a drink and they listen to an album forward, front to back or whatever. I'm like, I would never be able to do that. I would lose my fucking mind trying to do that. I would just get really like, this is freaking terrible. I am bored out of my mind.
Oh wow!
Right? Can't do it. There's only in my life, I think there's been maybe right now recently there's one band that I'm really into right now, and that's it. That I like them just for them. I've listened to their whole album, and that's it. Most bands I'm like, oh, I like a few songs. That's nice. Like I put that on if I'm feeling this way, or if I want to feel that way, or if I'm doing this, it's cool soundtrack to that. But music doesn't do anything by itself to me. It doesn't really matter much. So I have never gone to a concert that I've wanted to go to. I've gone to a concert because somebody else really wants to go, and I either go with them because I like them, or I'm like, oh yeah, that's good music. I'll go to that concert and listen to it as well. So I never initiate going to a concert. And even the ones I've been to have been fine. And people are like, oh, that's not amazing. I'm like, I guess we listened to music and then we went home. Okay, that was cool. It never really has done anything for me.
So you wanting to go to Power Glove was actually one of the first times you've ever.
Yep.
Like what?
But Power Glove is a good band. I like some of their songs, and I like you, Jimmy, and it'd be fun to hang out with you.
No,
but if you hadn't suggested it, you wouldn't have gone.
No.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I'm mostly not shocked at what you're saying. I'm shocked about the fact that you got fucked so hard by the world to go. Oh my god.
There'll be other chances. It's not like they're breaking up.
No. I get that. Yeah. But I just wow. So I'm saying wow. I'm sorry. I'm a little speechless only because I'm the complete opposite.
No, I know you.
Yeah, we just established that.
But also the experience of listening to them, not even concerts wise. So like pause that for a second. Like I'm talking about like music wise. Mm-hmm. When a band that I love comes out with a new album, mm-hmm. I'm the opposite where I have to be like, okay, so I'm at my computer. Here's my Spotify. Okay, I'm doing some, if I'm working, I'm doing some kind of mindless work that I can like do without having to super, you know what I mean? Like I don't have to it's I'm responding to whatever and I don't have to like super concentrate. Like I had to be I had to be locked in. Like the album front to back, every moment of every note, every bit on it or whatever.
The band I've ever done that with has been very recent. Mm-hmm. And I did that with Gunship.
I was gonna say Gunship, yeah. Yep. That's what I think. Yeah.
Gunship. Every other band I've ever listened to, I'm like, yeah, they're good, or I don't like them. But Gunship, for some reason, I'm like, holy shit, I love this.
To the point where you have a shirt.
I do have a Gunship shirt. Yeah, I should probably get that at some point and wear it.
Yep.
But yeah, I do have a Gunship shirt. I love Gunship. They're fucking great. But for the most part, no. The sad thing is, for me to really hurt Jimmy's feelings here, Fen.
Yeah, absolutely. Always.
I've not been to a lot of concerts. I don't really freak out about concerts. Do you know what I freak out about and get really excited about and go to? Ready? Book readings.
I love this.
I have been to a shit ton of book readings. We have an entire shelf of books, all signed books, like Gene Wilder, Stephen King, George Martin, Ernest Klein,
Gene Wilder, the actor?
Yeah. Chuck
and author.
With Fight Club. Yeah, an author. We have 2 of his books. Kiss Me Like a Stranger and My French Whore are both by Gene Wilder. We have signed by him. We have a whole bunch. We have a whole shelf of all signed books that I've met authors and talked to them and had them sign, and they do a book reading. I get all fucking jazzed up about that.
I'm the opposite. I'm the music and the actors. Mm-hmm. So
I'm always about the story, man. I love stories. Stories do a lot for me. Music doesn't.
I have a question about that then, because you were talking about the one band that you were like, this is cool. What is it about it that gets you? Is it that the lyrics are something that you can get into, or is it that the tones and stuff?
It's a little of both. The lyrics are pretty neat. They do have a bit of storytelling in some of their songs, which I enjoy. But I really like a lot of nostalgic like 80s synth stuff because it reminds me a lot of like growing up in the 80s and having these like movies that I know when I was watching as a kid in the late 80s, early 90s, like I don't understand what this movie's about, right? Because I don't get it. But you know when you watch a movie and you're like 12 or 13 and you're like, there's stuff going on in this movie that I don't understand. And that's really interesting to me that I'm like, I'm going to watch this again later when I'm older. I know, and I'm going to realize more stuff. But I remember watching Blade Runner when I was like 15 or 16 going, man, there's a lot more going on here than I'm going to realize. And then watching again when I'm my late 20s with friends of mine going, holy shit, this is a lot more going on here than I remember. But that kind of
I don't think I've ever had that thought when I'm watching. I'll watch things and be like, know that it's above me in a way that like I'll seem cooler if I say that I like this thing.
Sure.
Kind of like this is a thing that adults watch. But
Right.
I've never had that thing of like this. There's something happening here that's going over my head. Like I never was in the moment enough to know that.
That happens to me a lot, but there's a lot of music from that era that kind of brings me back to that feeling, that like nostalgic like joy that I had, right? And Gunship is a British band that is like a retro synth, like dark metal kind of band. I think I've had you listen to some of them, haven't I, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you like them or not. I love them, but like
My wife does. I know that. Like I have listened to them though.
there's a few people at work who like are obsessed with them. Some of our vendors in Europe love them too because they're very big in Europe. But that really does a lot for me. I love their style of music. It's very hard to find a band that has a sound like them. There isn't a lot of bands that sound like Gunship at all. Like metal all sounds different, right? But like Korn and Zombie are very different, but they're very metal. They have a lot of similarities in a lot of their tone and stuff, right? When you get down into nitty gritty, like they're very different. But they kind of go, this is kind of the umbrella that they're under. Gunship is over there somewhere.
Oh yeah. Yep.
They're very weird and different. So that does it for me with them. And it kind of speaks to me on a personal level, which is why I like them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. It's just interesting that like that's the first one that's like really done it for you.
Yeah,
Not that you're like actively looking for this stuff probably
No,
if it's
I'm
not
not.
interesting to you.
But like that's like the first time I've ever been like, man, I want to figure out these guys are on tour because I want to go see them. Like I want to go to a tour with these guys and like flip out. Any other things I've ever done with are like people come to read books they've written. There's been a couple that we've done like special screenings of movies where they have like a Q&A with people afterwards. Like Jimmy and I went to go see Terminator 2, right? And like the actual the old like 20 millimeter film and stuff, which was like super fun for me. Like analyzing that was awesome.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
But that was
the thing that sucked. It was a midnight showing though.
It was a late showing. Yeah,
it was a late showing. It's already an almost 3-hour movie too.
Oh,
but
why did they do that?
But we did that. Like that really does a lot for me. But this Gunship, I really was looking for a concert for them. They haven't really done any recently, and then obviously with COVID, they haven't either because they're not an American band; they're over in Britain. So that was the situation there. But for me, the concerts that I've seen that I remember recently is my wife was a really, really big Elton John fan. So we went to go see Elton John in concert, which was a lot of fun. I like Elton John music too. I mean, it's classic. You can't if you just like Elton John, then you don't understand what the man did for music, right? He did a lot,
right?
But you know, it didn't anything to do for me personally. My friend Matt is a huge Nickel Creek fan who's like this kind of like indie.
Oh yeah, hell
really
yeah!
Good. I like them a lot too, but again, like doesn't really do anything for me personally. But they're really good. They have some of the saddest songs of any band that I've ever heard.
Yeah, now we're getting into my wheelhouse.
Yeah, right.
Sad
like,
music.
Lighthouse is one of the saddest songs I've ever heard in my life.
It is.
It's ridiculously. It's like so sweet and romantic, but so freaking depressing, which I do like. But and the one that I did go see, speaking of sweet and depressing, is my friend Justin is a huge Lana Del Rey fan. I like Lana Del Rey, some of her stuff. So we went to go see Lana Del Rey in concert, which was very funny, being the only two straight men who were there willingly, listening to Lana Del Rey, which was very weird when I was like singing Young and Beautiful with all the lyrics, which were next to this little tween girl who was very confused why this bearded, overweight man was screaming Young and Beautiful lyrics. But
breaking stereotypes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. So that I like that too. But like again, I love going, well, that was a fun time, but I never Jimmy talks about, and it's not just Jimmy, but other people talk about concerts in this almost for like religious kind of way. Like this really like, wow, that was like I checked it off my list, like I can like die happy, like this is such an amazing thing. And like I get that way with certain things. Like Jimmy and I met Bruce Campbell a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
And that was a huge deal to me. Bruce Campbell has been like a big deal to me. I met Stephen King. I met George Martin. I met Ernest Cline, who wrote Ready Player One. Those were huge deals to me because books have really shaped my life way more than probably anything else, right? Mm-hmm. So that was a huge deal to me. I'm very sad that Stephen King will not really sign books anymore. Like he's pretty much gone on record saying that because I have a copy of the Gunslinger, which is the first of the Dark Tower series, like a really old edition of it. That I would love to have him sign, but I don't think he'll ever do it. But that kind of stuff really speaks to me. Like having a minute to talk to these guys and kind of figure that out. That does a lot. Or like seeing people with like film critics and talking to like filmmakers and stuff does a lot for me. But music, like I said, has always been something that you just use to enhance what you're doing, right? It's kind of like the salt on the dish, right? The salt is not while you're there for, you know, the fish or the chicken or whatever you're eating. The salt just kind of makes it a little bit better. That's always what music has been for me.
For half a second, I thought you said salt on the dick. I misheard it completely.
This is a beautiful realization, a moment that he is talking about, and you got to
I'm sorry.
into it.
God.
Sometimes you can hear a thing and keep it to yourself, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
I can't. Especially not when it's dicks.
Jimmy can't.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but those are the three I remember. I've seen Neil Diamond in concert when we used to live in Boston. We went to the Hat Show when he went and did the Hat Show the 4th of July.
Oh yeah, okay.
We'd go there like 7 a.m. and you sit there all day in like the 100-degree weather.
Oh.
And they just do entertainment for you the whole time. It's a good time, but you're like on fire the entire time. But he came and did a whole bunch of stuff. He was swinging Sweet Caroline, which was really fun.
I was supposed to say, if he's performing in Boston and he doesn't do Caroline, the entire city's gonna burn.
But I don't care about Sweet Caroline as a song, right? I don't care about Neil Diamond as an artist. That was fun because of what we were doing.
Right.
Hanging out with people.
The Hat Show, 4th of July in Boston with my friends, like sitting there and, you know, eating hot dogs and drinking lemonade because it was 4th of July. And he happened to be there singing. Didn't really, that wasn't the issue. It was the fact that it was all this other stuff going on. That's a great example of music in general. It adds to it, but it would have been funny if he wasn't there. I guess is kind of my point. So sorry, Jimmy. I know that just
those polar opposites.
Right. No, one of my brothers is the same. He's not really a music person as well. He's got his bands, and we've been to a couple concerts before together and stuff like that. And then my other brother though, him and I, we can wreak havoc at fucking concerts. So the one I will say, the one concert that I have drank at is like all the Dropkick Murphy shows I've ever been to, which is like at least 20. Which I'm sorry. If you're not drinking and if you're of age and you're not drinking at a Dropkick Murphy show, what the fuck are you doing with your life? That's all I gotta ask. But yeah, him and I can wreak havoc at those things. But like,
didn't we go to a whole festival that was called Punk and Drublics? Did you not drink there?
Oh, I drank so bad. So wait, first of all, okay. So Punk and Drublic, first of all, was a half concert, half beer tasting.
Yeah.
So
the whole point.
It was like 3 hours of free beer samples.
In the rain.
Into the show, and then they were still feeding us beer, which was awesome. Yeah, that was, I'm not gonna lie, that was an amazing show, and it was raining out. It was one of the so it sucked at first because we were walking in and it was raining and we were wearing ponchos and the ponchos weren't really working well or whatever for some of us like me. But it was funny because after like the 5th or 6th like a sample of beer, I was just like, I don't give a fuck. I could piss myself silly and nobody would know. Like I didn't give a shit at that point. It was having so much fun.
I mean, no one would because we were all very wet. So.
Oh yeah, no, there was a couple of downpours that like happened. Sorry, my window's open. If you just heard that, so sorry. It was not me farting. It was the window.
So that would be a very loud.
I'd have to get checked out if it was that was my fart.
Sorry, I asked
But yeah, so but the there was one or two times where it just poured all of a sudden. Like it was already raining and then all of a sudden it just fucking poured on us. But we were just at that point we were just already loaded, so we didn't give a shit. We were just like, hi, bring it on, fuck you. Just watering down the beer and we're gonna have some more. So okay. But anyways, but I do actually, one quick note on that, it was in a baseball field. And I did feel bad for the baseball field.
You fucking destroyed that field.
Oh, we destroyed
I don't know why they let it go when it was raining. No, they should have canceled it.
They should have canceled it or moved it like to another field. If it was just a regular field, it's one thing. Obviously, it's gonna. But it was bad.
It was a muddy mess.
I felt bad for our all of our mutual friend Matt because we were so wet and muddy. By the time we got back to his place, I didn't want to go inside, even though I had to piss really bad. Like I did not want to go inside and track any mud in his house or anything.
Yeah.
So
I went to an ice cream place after that, and I felt bad about it.
Well, yeah, you and one of our other friends ended up leaving during No Effects, the headliners, but that's because they got a little. I'm not gonna lie.
They were also a little drunk.
I like No Effects, but the one thing I don't like is that they talk too much in between songs, and they also try to push the envelope too much. And they were making some jokes that were, weren't pleasing. That
just wasn't fun.
Yeah, the other bands were fantastic, though.
Yeah. And they were the final one too, so I felt no shame about ducking. I was just like, all right, well, we had our fun. I got plenty out of this. I feel like I got my money's worth.
Oh yeah,
now let's go get ice cream.
Yeah, and the fact that the first couple of bands were, I was kind of like, at first I was like, no, they're gonna play while we're trying the beers, whatever. They're gonna be, and then
they were great.
Every one of the bands hit the stage and they were fantastic. It was definitely one of the most unique experiences I've ever had going to a concert where it was a half beer tasting, half concert. I don't think I'm ever going to be at one of those ever again, possibly. So,
I would want to do, because again, it's two things.
Beer.
Yeah, you would have enjoyed that.
I would have enjoyed it. It's funny though, because it seems like, Finn, that you and I have similar eclectic tastes, though.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yes, I'm actually.
I've driven in the car with you, and we're both like, "Oh yeah, I was like Stephen Sujan, right? Who does like a really depressing shit, or like Nickel Creek, or like I'm really into like I don't know if you were listening to like Ben Howard or Lord Huron as well, do like that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
But then I'm also into like but I'm also into like some metal stuff as well. But yeah, I just think that's funny. Like you and I, because Jimmy's I think has his line that he likes to go, but you and I are kind of like all over the place.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited to be the perfect middle between the two of you.
True. You are. But I will say this before we move on to Becca. I will say this though: in the last 6 or 7 years that since I met my now wife, like my taste has definitely started. It's not anywhere like you guys, where you guys are like branching off like tree trunks or tree roots. I'm doing much better. Like I was in my line. And I'm just kind of I'm getting there, guys. Okay, so I love like a couple of rap groups now, and like, not because of her, but just because I've realized that I need to expand. Like when I was younger,
you don't need to. If your thing is your thing, but like usually I find even if something's not necessarily like my thing, if you listen to enough stuff, there's like elements of that thing that is cool, and then it might lead you down. Like in this day and age where we have like online access to everything, there's so many like subgenres that are like this plus this, like synth pop,
right,
rock, like those. There's infinite combinations of those weird things, and I'm finding my tastes now are getting weirder and weirder.
True.
But it's because like you go out into something that we're like, I'm not into reggae, but there's like certain bits of that. If you mix it with this, that suddenly I'm like, whoa, that's cool.
But it doesn't like No Woman No Cry, which is reggae, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing was that when I was really, really young in my early 20s, I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna stay on my track, and I'm not even gonna give anything else a try. And now I'm like, oh, that's wasted years of listening to music. I could have listened to so many other bands. And
I just have some weird crap I listen to, like Gunship, for instance. But I'm also getting really into like TWRP, which is a Canadian electronic band, which is really good. Who works with Dan Avidan from Ninja Sex Party all the time. So, if you Ninja Sex Party, Jimmy?
I've heard of them.
They're good.
Of course, yeah.
The stuff is stupid, but like the stuff they work with TWRP on is actually good because it's a little more serious. It's funny, but it's a little more serious too.
Even when they're funny, like the quality is really good. Like there's a few times that I'll like a Ninja Sex Party song will come up, and it's just like if I'm not paying attention to the words, I'm just like jamming, and then I'll realize that it's talking about something completely ridiculous.
Well, if you want to be really funny, if you go back and watch one of the earlier episodes, I forget which one, I'm actually wearing a Starlight Brigade T-shirt, which is a TWRP song. So,
nice.
But I like that because the video is freaking amazing. If you ever watched the video for Starlight Brigade, it is crazy.
Oh, yeah, I have.
That is a freaking work of art. That is so good. That's what got me into that one. You go look up Starlight Brigade after this, Jimmy, and watch the video. It's one of the best animated. It's like you want it to be a movie. It's so good.
Oh, is it like the Space Vagina guys?
No.
Space?
Yeah, no vagina.
No vaginas. Okay.
No. Yeah. But it's very good. That's a good one. Go watch Danny Don't You Know, which is Dan Avidan and Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, which is a fantastic song. It's one of my favorites.
Interesting.
It's him kind of singing through a younger version of himself saying, hey, you're going to be okay, but in a really funny way. It's very touching. I find that one good.
And Finn really looks like him as like...
Finn looks a lot like him, as a little kid, yeah. But that's a good one. But he's got some funny stuff, too. Like Courtship of the Mermaid is fucking hilarious. But again, I like that because it's funny. Right?
It's engaging a different part of your brain.
Right. Like I like Weird Al, right? Weird Al Yankovic is great.
Yeah, of course.
Because, again, like I don't like listening to Happy by Pharrell Williams or whatever. I listen to Tappy by Weird Al because I think it's funny.
Yes.
Right? But again, it's not just music. I'm also being entertained in a different way. So it's that cross section for me. So, But what kind of stuff? What concerts have you been to, Fan? Jimmy and I have been talking here this whole
I was
time.
about to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm like kind of the perfect middle between you guys, in terms of just like I've been to a lot more concerts than you, Matt, but I don't enjoy them in quite the same way as Jimmy. Because I really love music. I'm very into music, and I will listen to music just for the sake of it. There's a thing called maladaptive daydreaming that ADHD people do, where you basically just zone out and listen to music, and like you can see stuff in your head. It's not necessarily to music, it could be to anything, but like I find the music that I love the most are ones that are like kind of having a story attached, because I will just get sucked into that and have it playing in my head. Which is why I like a lot of like sad dramatic shit and like musicals and stuff like that, because you can just like really key into that sort of thing and let my imagination go. So to that end, I don't really feel like the activity of going to a concert is that much of an improvement to me just like enjoying a thing, because I don't get a ton out of hanging out in group settings. But there are certain things where like that concert atmosphere are fun, or like if I'm hanging out with my friends, like that's what makes it fun. So like I don't actively look out most concerts. I have a few bands that are like top tier. If I saw them go on tour, or I at least know they're an incredible performance, like I would go out on my own. But usually it's like my friends invite me to a thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure. So in that way, I'm like you, Matt.
Yeah.
But I've been going to concerts for a long time. I used to do it a lot more when I was younger. I haven't in recent years. My first one was when I was about 15. This was back in 2007. You have to understand that I was growing up around the time where emo and pop punk was
Okay.
the thing. So growing up, that I was a little punk. Um, and the first concert that I went to was specifically to see a band called Shiny Toy Guns. I don't know,
Oh
have you ever heard
yeah,
of them?
I've heard
Yeah.
of them, yeah.
they do a great cover of Major Tom.
Yeah. It was specifically like We Are Pilots, like the 2006 album
Sure,
Shiny Toy Guns is what I was into.
I've
They
heard of it.
changed lead singers partway after that, and I was like, I don't know, my brain as a kid being like, no, I don't like them. Even though the singer came back and whatever, I haven't checked out their music since, but it did change a bit since then. But it's like synth, alt rock kind of
Yeah, they're
stuff.
good. I've listened to some of their stuff. I like them. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that was what I was into, and that was what I was going to this festival for. It was EQX Fest. It was an outdoor venue. My sister brought me. She's 8 years older than me, so it was like my cool college sister bringing me to a concert.
Wait. Your first concert was a festival?
Yeah. I mean, that's like a
Yeah.
normal thing in like the Vermont and upstate New York,
Oh,
like
that's
outdoor
sweet.
venues
Yeah.
and stuff. Either that or really smaller ones.
Well, it's probably if they have someone coming there, like let's have a lot of people come here to share the cost because there's like nowhere in Vermont to really do a lot of that stuff.
True.
Actually.
Yeah, this was in Saratoga, so it was just over the border in New York.
Mm.
And the headliners were 311, Modest Yahoo. I don't know if you know. He's like
Wow.
a Modest Yahoo is a Hasidic reggae rapper, which is an interesting combo, but it is actually really cool. So
Yeah.
that was an interesting concert to
Well,
see.
his big one, his big hit was it is it Handlebars? Is that what it's called? Or no, am I thinking of the other?
I
No, I'm
think you're
sorry.
thinking of someone else,
I
unless
think
he
it was
was
someone
on.
else. But
So funny how many Jewish kids growing up are into rap. There's like a lot of it's
I
like a
know.
big thing that Jewish kids are into
yeah.
rap growing up, I find, which I think is very, very interesting. Not that I grew up Jewish. I'm Jewish now, but I wasn't Jewish growing up. But I found that talking to people, a lot of them are Jewish growing up, which I find funny. I mean, one of the biggest rap groups in the world is Jewish. I mean, Beastie Boys are all
Yeah.
Jewish kids from New York. But that's interesting. But honestly, people are like, oh, that's still crazy, a Hasidic Jew rapping. But I'm like, no, that actually makes some sense if you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Yeah, I have to listen to some of that.
Yeah, I haven't listened to him in years, but I remember in the concert I was like, oh, this is a surprise. Like I hadn't heard of him before then. Um, and yeah, there was a few other ones there, but I was really just there for Shiny Toy Guns. And it was good. I don't really remember any details of like being there and seeing them in person. I know it was a hot day. I tried to like pull out an old hard drive before this, just because I knew we were going to talk about it, and pull out some old photos. I checked online. It I joined Facebook the year after this concert, so there's no
Oh.
thing there. All these photos would have been on MySpace, so there's no way to get them now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great concert. And then so then I did one or two more big shows. Like I did Warp Tours. I
Mhm.
saw some shows like that. But then I since high school, I've really gone just to like smaller shows.
Mhm.
there was a period of time where I was just doing like house shows and stuff, like informal things. And now it's like I'll go to some bigger shows, but they're in small venues because I find like the really big venues, like you lose something. I'm kind of awkward in a crowd. And so you have to kind of have people really close together to get away from that awkwardness. And if you have a really big venue, I'm just going to kind of like hover at the edge of it and not get involved. But like if everyone's got to be close anyways, then I'll be in there in the pit and it'll be fine. But like there's that weird barrier of just like closeness. Yeah. There's like only a few concerts that I can think of where I had like a really like, oh, I'm good. This is gonna stick with me. And there were ones where like it surprised me. I remember I saw Silver Sun Pickups in a really small bar.
What?
But
a really small bar?
Yeah, but the thing is, they fucking sucked live. And the band that opened for them was Cage the Elephant, which at the time they weren't on the radio or anything yet. And they had an incredible show, and they got everyone pumped up. So
I want to see them live sometime.
You should. They're great. But that's why I remember it, is because I was so excited for Silver Sun Pickups, and I got surprised by Cage the Elephant, and then just the energy completely gone after Cage the Elephant left.
That's also that happens to see a band live, and you're like, oh, these guys are terrible live.
Yeah. Well, there's like, that's why the bands that I'm like actively would look for and try and get into a show are ones where I'm like, I've seen clips of them live, or like I know that they're actual performers, versus because a lot of the music that I listen to is really cool and really expressive and stuff, but like it would not translate to a live space the same way. Like I listen to a lot of experimental stuff that just like use cool like computer generated noises, and like not that you can't do that live and stuff, but like it wouldn't be the same in person. Like I wouldn't get that same hit of enjoyment from hearing it as I would hearing it in headphones.
I had some friends in the early 2000s who were really into My Chemical Romance, which was big in the day, and they went to a concert and then they were not fans of My Chemical Romance anymore.
Really?
Wow.
Apparently them live, they're like, they are the worst. Like the singer can't. They were like, this is their opinion. So if you're friends of My Chemical Romance, I'm sorry, but they're like, the singer couldn't sing. Like I was like out of breath half the time. Apparently, either it was a bad show or whatever. I don't know when they go see him, but they're like, this guy is like awful. So then they listen to songs and they're like, I don't know what's going on, but like it's only good if he's like doing the recording. They're kind of like lost a lot of their like, I don't know, that little magic that they got from the band for some reason, which I thought was
I found that a lot with like mid 2000s pop punk bands, is that they sounded really great on the recording, and then in live it was just like lackluster. Warped Tour in particular, I don't know if it was like I went to one that was in Canada, that was a show actually where we lost power halfway through because it was raining or whatever. This was early enough that Katy Perry was on Warped Tour, by the way, which is like feels like a weird thing now, but back in the day before she was a pop star.
Did you actually see her perform?
I did. She was one that did an acoustic set because they didn't have power.
Oh my god, it's hilarious.
Yeah. She's actually sing live. Like she's actually decent for
but like other people, that it's just like a lot of sound of fury signifying nothing. Like their voices just sound awful and whiny in person, which is like the brand. But like you don't realize how much is curated on the recording to make it sound like not just completely like, oh god, get over yourself kind of whiny.
The bassist they're really backing them up. It's just a very tinny,
Yeah.
Not that I don't know about My Chemical Romance. I know that's like a.
No, I mean I don't know. I like Welcome to the Black Parade. I think that's a fun song just because I love the fact that it changes genres like 3 times throughout the song. The rest of the listening to, I'm not kind of like, I'm not a huge fan of them. But that one song, I'm like, this is cool. But then after that, I listened to a live recording of it. I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't good. So
I was gonna say, I know that they were gone for a while, and then all of a sudden they announced, like, obviously just before the pandemic hit, they were like, oh, we're back, and then they sold out really big shows, and then they went to shit. But I don't know
if they went to shit. They just stopped.
Oh no, I'm talking about
you mean the pandemic? Oh, okay. The world went to shit.
The world went to shit. But no, I gotta say, I'm with you though. I like that one song. I've never listened to the rest of them, but I know that people have boners over them, and I don't get it, I guess.
You weren't there. You had to be there. I'm not a big My Chemical Romance. Somehow that skipped me. I went to Fall Out Boy instead.
Yes, Fall Out Boy, yeah.
I don't like current Fall Out Boy, I have to say. It was only like the first couple albums.
I'm not gonna lie,
their sound changed a lot, which is gonna make me sound like I'm a hipster or whatever. But like it literally, I'm totally happy for them, like having a more clean, like they're moving where they want to be. That's cool. But like I enjoyed the weird sounds at the beginning of their career when they clearly didn't have the right production.
Yeah.
And the song titles, Gwen's just being an absolute.
I saw them right before they made that change, and they were on tour with Panic at the Disco and 21 Pilots, and I walked in just for Fall Out Boy and was had a really good time, and then regretted not having gone earlier and watched the other two bands because I ended up becoming really big fans of the other two, and it was the first major tour that 21 Pilots had been on, so they were just doing just the two of them. So it was just the drum set and then him and the piano and the ukulele, and that was it. And but then I saw them 21 Pilots at the Garden, and like just mind blown. Really, like the guy ended up appearing, like the lead singer appeared out of nowhere, like 5 or 6 seats away from me, and then we were in the arena, and it was craziness. It was amazing. But the one problem with that show was that some fucking asshole behind us, when AWOL Nation was playing before them, decided to start throwing shit at me, and then got a security guard to tell me to sit down during a concert. Go fuck yourselves. Okay, it's not my fault I'm 6'3". Fuck you. It's a concert. Stand the fuck up. Get your ass up. If you're in a wheelchair, that's fine. But if you're not in a wheelchair, so stand the fuck up and don't throw shit at me. And then I get yelled at from the security guy. So go fuck yourself.
What were your seats? Were you like in the way back?
No, we were actually we were, I think, the second section back from the floor. And we were kind of like I don't know how to do this on Zoom, but here's like the stage, and then we were kind of like angled from it was actually a really good view.
Because I was gonna say, like, sometimes if you don't get a close seat at all, like that back area is just like I want to sit and just have a chill time. So someone standing there would make me mad. But like if you're in the middle, whatever.
Oh no, we were like in the middle. Like we were like, I think there was 4 sections of seats or something like that. And we were the second section back. But yeah, no, it was I don't know. That was a great show. I am the complete difference where I it's funny listening to you guys' like opinions on and again. I'm not here shitting on anybody. Everybody has their own.
You better not be.
Oh no. Everybody is different, and I get that. But I do think it's interesting for me to hear from like my perspective about music and concerts, and then hearing your guys's because like I'm apparently in a whole different world that I didn't.
Well, I don't think yours is weird. I think that's a very common thing. I think you've maybe done it more than a lot of people, but
I myself I think is weirder than most people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because for me, like I've said, it has to be a very personal song for me to get into it. Like I don't appreciate the song out of the context of how it relates to me to some degree. So
right.
Mm-hmm. I would love to get you to a show where it's really more of a performance than anything.
Probably.
There's a few like top tier ones that I really want to see. Like there's an artist named Stromae. I might be pronouncing it wrong. It's a French artist, but like I've watched his live stuff on like YouTube before, and it's just like so fun. Like I know all the music. Like the fact that I'm seeing the music live is not the fun part. It's just like I want to be there and witnessing him doing that and the lights and stuff. But
so
yeah, and there's
a performance piece kind of like. No, I'm not making an insult out of it, but like kind of like Blue Man Group kind of like performance-y.
No, not like that.
Oh,
I mean, it's definitely still like the music is the point, but like I was not as big a fan of him until I saw that, and then suddenly it like colored all the music differently for me because I was like, oh wait, like this is really cool. Like to the point where I really don't like live music recordings. Back in the day with LimeWire, if I accidentally recorded a live thing, I fucking hated it because it would get on my iPod and I could not get it off.
That's one of the biggest things. I love the S&M album, right? Like the Metallica with the symphony stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right, but I hate that it's only that live recording.
Yeah.
I think some of the stuff with the actual like strings is like awesome. Like really Ecstasy of Gold with them doing that, or like Call of Cthulhu, the S&M album is like freaking amazing.
I think they're doing a second one, by the way. S&M too.
Oh, really? But like I want them to do it in a studio without the audience. I think would be better. To be honest.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. As long as the audience isn't ruining it, though. Sure. Like I don't remember the audience being an issue with that, but like I mean, obviously, there's a lot of live recordings that I listen to that like. I'm not a huge like live album person unless if like the quality is fantastic, but sometimes the audience does fucking ruin it. Though. They'll like be singing too loud or something, or
just like the sound of the clapping, like getting loud at the end of one and then getting quiet at the beginning of the other song, like that completely ruins my flow when I try and listen to music.
Really? Oh, for me, for me, I have the other experience where I'm like, oh, this makes me
excited.
Remember, especially if it's like, say for instance, Slipknot, they have amazing quality. So like when I listen to their live albums, like I just sit there and I'm just like, oh my God, I fucking wish I was at a show right now. Like
it does kind of come back to that point. I think you hit on the head, Fen. I think if I went to see a concert that was a little more low key, a little more of a performance, it'd be good because again, I think music is a little bit more. The ones I like are a little more personal to me, as opposed to like the big thing that Jimmy's talking about, like the big,
Spectacle.
spectacle sort of thing. Like the song that got me, not recently, but somewhat a little bit ago, is the last Linkin Park song. I don't know if you heard this one, Jimmy. One More Light, the one that Linkin did like pretty much right after he died, or like it came out right after he died. Like that gets me because it's really about like suicide to some degree, which not to go too deep, we can talk about this some other time, but it's a very important topic to me.
Mhm.
But that was a big deal, and then knowing that that song is so futile because he does die, basically about the issue that he's singing about is kind of so sad, right? There's that one, or I don't know if you ever heard "Rainbow" by Casey Musgraves.
Oh, I know her. I don't think I've listened to Rainbow.
That song, unfortunately, is whatever you think of the song. Every single time I listen to it, I cry. Every single time.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I'm actually paying attention to the song, I cry. Because basically the whole point of the song is saying, you think the world's terrible, you're really depressed, things are going fine. And you need to calm down, everything's okay. And it gets me every time because it's very personal to me.
Right.
I really enjoy that song. Is it a good song? I have no idea. Right? No, probably not, really.
I don't know. If it does that to you, I would say that it is. Also, I fucking love songs that make me cry. That's like the pinnacle for me. I have a whole playlist that is exactly what you just said.
I do too.
Specifically about like mental health type stuff of just like the world is kind of fucked up, but I'm singing.
I love melancholia. If I can get into like a whole playlist about sadness and just like crying, yeah, hell yeah.
But it is like it because it just changes your mood. And I consider myself a really happy person, like optimistic.
I talked to a friend of mine once. I'm like, oh yeah. He was like, oh, he's so happy, but I'm like, yeah, I'm really not. I come across that way, but I'm not.
But it's like, because you have healthy coping stuff. Like also, like going way back to what you had said earlier, Red. Like you're a very happy metal listener. I think people who listen to metal a lot of times sometimes are having conflicting feelings, and they feel like this loud music that is like full of an emotion is like a healthy way to work through it, really. So, and maybe they dwell on things a little bit more than you do, but like there's a real point to music that it conveys emotion and makes humans feel certain things. And then when you get together in a group and do that, there is like a certain amount of stuff that happens. But it's like every artist is different. There's such a wide different amount of music these days. I can't imagine back in like the olden days in the 60s and all those things where like all the not that all the music was the same, but like they were going nuts for like this Beatles. New form. Yeah, like that was so crazy and like life changing. But now there's no, I mean, there's probably some music like that, but it doesn't seem like anything is cutting edge enough, Like there's no clear thing that's just like, that's shocking to me. That's new. The new kids are going crazy for it. I guess maybe there's some degree of like new rappers that will like make older generations. Yeah. But like even still, like that doesn't shock me that people would like that because I had similar things myself with other types of music,
Right.
But so, well, I think this is probably a good place to start wrapping it up here, though, Jimmy.
Oh yeah.
On this spot.
You want to take it? You want to take us home, Jimmy? Wrap it up.
Take us home, Jimmy.
Take it away.
Oh God, how do I wrap this up?
I put on the button end here.
Well, on a quick side note, you mentioned bands that do like performances. So a quick side note to that is that the one time I got to see Gwar, they took us from heaven to hell to fight the Jewish devil. And then throughout the whole thing, proceeded to also.
There is no Jewish devil.
No, I know it's Gwar. Trust me, it's Gwar. It's the band that throws blood and piss.
A friend of mine was written to Gwar and Mushroom Head.
Oh, that actually would
really
be
weird people.
Yeah, so it was definitely one of my most memorable concerts because of the fact that like they brought this fake Paris Hilton out that was on a slab and then proceeded to disembowel the entire body to the point where there was just a head and it was just squirting blood into the crowd. So yeah,
that was very mean to Paris Hilton.
It was like 2008 or 9 or something like that.
That doesn't make a difference. She's just a woman likes to go out and party. We got tons of those.
I mean, it's better than the other choices that they went. They went very political in other tours with that segment of the show. So
that's at least a little bit more like when you go into the political sphere, you're putting yourself out there. Whereas like if you're just a like internet celebrity or whatever she was back in the day, it's not like you're putting yourself out there like I'm gonna start becoming a celebrity because I want people to get very angry at me.
So, well, I mean, there are some people in this world that become celebrities just to be, pissed off at it. So, I mean,
I don't think
there are
they
some
do
out
it
there.
to do it. I think they weaponize it to get more famous,
Oh, yeah,
like the
absolutely.
Kardashians and stuff. I still don't think we should decapitate them as a
By the
symbol.
way, the Kardashians are ending soon. Oh, yes.
They're ending soon.
They're not actually though. The main show's ending, but apparently they're having spin-off shows, so they're still gonna be on TV.
Are they going to start doing live shows?
Yeah, they're gonna do a Kardashian concert. They're just gonna sit on the couch and eat big salads and yell.
I'd love to see. Okay, the only time I would go, Kardashians on Ice. That's the only time.
Ooh. Okay, yeah. If you're going, I'm going.
Yep. No, I'll get front row seats to that one.
Yeah, we have to get drunk for that show though.
Yeah, drunk. Yeah. We'll get high if we have to. I don't know. We'll get big tubs of
popcorn. If we have to.
Yeah. Front row.
We'll just bring a whole bunch of Mexican Coke, both varieties. And we'll
exactly, yeah. On that note, this has been an episode. Hey, so what are we doing for the next episode?
I think we're going to switch gears entirely from concert and the depressing nature that this turned into, and do Saturday morning cartoons.
Let's see how we can fuck that up and make it
depressing. Yeah, how do we make that depressing? Oh, I can. Oh, I will.
Oh, God.
Wait till I get to Transformers.
Stay tuned, everybody.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I'm going to spoil like a